Hi everyone, welcome to our session today, DIY Fashion, being conducted in partnership between Fashion TT and Port of Spain Fashion Week. And today we are very happy to have our new partner on board with these sessions, Mr. Michael Christopher of Fashion Focus. So Mike, you're not a stranger to us, certainly not Fashion TT, not Port of Spain Fashion Week, because you were supporting Crystal there. And then also, as well, you are a well known name throughout the fashion industry in terms of the formation of Fashion Focus, the various initiatives we did in terms of events and pop ups,
Right.
um, brunch events. So I'm just basically running through all those things. I'm sure the viewers know already. So thanks so much, Mike, for being online with us today. It's certainly a pleasure. Thanks, Crystal, for the connection as always. And Mike,
Sure.
I would love for you to share with us, for the purpose of our viewers, just basically, telling us what is your core business in Fashion Focus? What is Fashion Focus really about?
All right. So, afternoon, everyone, and thanks for having us. Thanks for giving us this opportunity to share. Fashion focus for a couple of the viewers who may not know. It may be it may be a brand name that you may have heard before. Not too sure what it is. I think that's a magazine. I think that's an event they used to have. So, fashion
Mm-hmm.
focus really in a nutshell, it's really a platform that we had put together for the purpose of showcasing creatives to first of all local, regional, and international audiences. And why I said it in that sequence is because we felt as though first and foremost we felt as though too little people right in our own backyard weren't aware of what was happening in the local industry in terms of fashion, in terms of designers, creatives, and everybody in the fashion ecosystem, right? So the platform was supposed to, first of all, kind of shine a light on those people here, and then eventually, it will stretch to regional and then international markets, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it was comprised of two things. We originally started off by having a trade show, and in that same year, then we established the trade show. We also established a magazine, a fashion magazine. So it was
Mm-hmm.
a dual platform, right?
Yeah.
So for those people who may have heard of the we used to call it a convention, it was really a setup where we try to put designers in contact with um, department stores, that type of thing, to have the local fashion retailers, get some of their stuff from local sources. And in that same first year, which was 2015, what happened is that we also decided that part of fashion is magazines. Magazines is part of the fashion landscape, and we decided that we had enough and we had the infrastructure to actually launch a magazine. So this is what I might call an antique, but this is an example here of the first fashion focused magazine that we ever did.
Mm-hmm.
Might wonder, fashion magazines, you always have a high fashion model, some kind of creative on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first iteration, and because we were undecided as to what we would actually put on the cover, we said, you know what, let's just establish what we're about, right? So we had
Mm-hmm.
that. Now, over time, what has happened, very quickly, is that the actual trade show approach to having, to doing an event is something that we had reviewed because it was heavy, very heavy in terms of industry, in terms of what would be required, stakeholders, that sort of thing. And then we kind of segued into more socially focused events. That's how, you're referring to the brunch and that sort of thing. So fashion focus is that, is a little bit of both, and we just here continuing to see how we can best contribute to the industry.
Yeah, so, you were having the actual physical events whereby there were fashion shows and then there were B2B meetings between local buyers and local fashion designers. Then you would have transitioned and consistently been producing the Fashion Focus magazine, which is essentially a very high quality magazine. I love the images. It's certainly very great um, vision and view of what we have right now in the fashion industry. But unfortunately, at this point in time, print has been put on hold given what's going on within the
right.
current climate within the country. So can you tell us how you were able to pivot your business between that time to now? How are you re-strategizing in this new era of what's happening in fashion?
Okay, so very quickly as well, we always believed in print, right? Because I always felt as though the real the real essence of a magazine is in the experiential feel. You're sitting
Mm-hmm.
in a coffee shop, you're sitting in the comfort of your home, you're sitting on an airplane, you're browsing through the pages, you're looking at what's late, looking at what you want to buy. And it's in that tactile exchange that you really got maximum benefit from a magazine. So we always believed in that. And then what happened was we had an opportunity to, get involved in an exclusive deal with Caribbean Airlines where we would be online, yes, but we would be on a secured network so that their in-flight wireless service, it would be available to their customers. So any flight over 10,000 feet or over 2 hours, any passenger would then be able to log on to their portal, and Fashion Focus will be one of the magazines or somebody reading material that says, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we went with that for a while, and that worked well because we thought that we were serving the both things. We had, we were still doing our experimental thing in cafes, shops, boutiques, that sort of. And for those people, even though that's a potential 388,000 people a month, over, before the pandemic, it really represented a good balance. However, as you correctly said, the reality is we are constrained now by new circumstances, and it would have been both, it would have been both irresponsible, we feel, socially irresponsible to continue to try to push a print magazine because, of course, that is introducing another surface for contamination, the to and fro. And then, too, it was an opportunity to really capitalize on the quantitative nature of both social and electronic media. So, what we've done, at least temporarily, is we've converted
Mr.
totally
Lucha?
a totally online version of
Yeah.
the magazine
Yes. How you going?
website. So we've
Mm-hmm.
redefined our website. It is
Yeah,
www.
I was just calling to get your email, but I called Wayne and he able to.
And on that website, you get the full PDF of the magazine. We also on issuu.com, www.isuu.com. And what that has done, understand, is giving us, though, a real counter. So before we would print 10,000 magazines distributed across the country, and for every single copy, maybe two or three other people may see it. So that's a potential distribution of, let's say, 30 to 40,000.
Mm-hmm.
In the time since since the pandemic has, since we've converted to this format, the website hits in terms of individual, not repeat viewers, individual viewers is something like 17, 18,000. And that's between the time of release and now. Now with that, that type of trajectory, it stands to reason that we probably surpass the amount of eyes that would have seen a magazine in the probably in the next month or two. So it has really given us scope. The people that have contacted us about local designs, about local brands and those sort of things, the audience has changed. So you find that people from different parts of the world, you know, private message the social media, they send emails to the website about how they could get in contact, and we figure that in light of what is happening globally, at least we're still able to contribute in a meaningful way to what's happening on the local and slash sometimes regional fashions.
Yeah, I mean, definitely moving on to digital is a better opportunity in terms of reach. But how is that? How are you sustaining digital? Is it that, yeah, go
That's a
ahead.
good question. That's a good question. Because, and that's why I said, so temporarily we've been able to segue into it. So in terms of the production and magazine production, excluding the printing, is something that could, we could produce this, that, and the other. But here's the reality. Everything is connected to something else. So you have a stylist, you have a fashion editor, you have a coordinator, you have a photographer, you have models, you have collections to shoot. And these production teams are relatively small. So you can do a successful editorial in these times, considering that the conditions may be relaxed a bit based on the success that we've experienced. So that's fine. So that's production. When you get into advertisers could, still support you because okay, your reach is actually more quantifiable now. Say, okay, this is where my message will reach X amount of people. But when you come back now, to the beginning of it, where you're reaching out to designers to find out about new collections to shoot and these type of things, here is where there's a pivot because the demand for different types of clothing will change. If people are restricted in where they could go and what they can do, a lot of our fashion taste is not necessarily utilitarian where people want to dress up and go out. Now that variable has been removed. There's no out to go. And in as much as people are trying to do have experiences virtually, the amount of consumption most definitely will drop. You're not going to spend the same amount of money that you were spending 6 months ago on on clothing because it is just a little bit different, at least clothing with a particular purpose. So what we find happening is that as we are starting to reach out now to people about what they may have or what they have been producing, those things have changed. Their designers nationally, internationally. They've changed the whole market position. And although it would still suffice and it will still be material that we could shoot, it is only so much. It is almost as though you're building a bridge and you're walking across it one time. It's a kind of wait and see type of approach because some designers have segued quite successfully. I've seen, for the instance, Ryan Chan. Ryan Chan has a line called Ryan Chan Home, I think it is, and taking his creativity, and he's always one of the much more creative designers. His artistic, he's created this, line furniture set as the other designers are. Everything that you may have been buying to go out to fancy dinners and parties, they repurposing it now and doing pajama sets, things that you might wear at home. And that to me that's pretty clever. But what I'm thinking of now is there's only so much of that you can do because the level of consumption or how often people buy these things will most definitely be affected. But we'll see. We see how we can progress with the material that we have available.
Yeah, I mean, I know the changing patterns would definitely change, but I feel like if there are a lot of people still purchasing ready to wear and wearing ready to wear at home, for instance, when we have to conduct these online meetings, we wouldn't exactly like I wouldn't put on a pajamas or lingerie for online meeting, right? Like I would I would dress up like if I'm going to work as normal. And I think people who are meeting their clients and
Yes.
potential business people would and when we did an engagement with customers just about last month, we did an engagement with consumers throughout Trinidad and Tobago. We saw that ready to wear and beauty were two of the highest in terms of consumption for products.
Let's continue. Yeah.
But what I'm thinking, boy, Mike, is that a critical aspect right now for designers is to continue to be seen and to continue to generate content for posting online every single day. Yeah,
Correct.
I think it's
Correct.
just constantly.
I
Yeah,
think
just
it's gonna for at a different level of innovation,
Yeah.
and being able to think about what people might need before they realize they need it. I see
Hmm.
a lot of designers well have kind of, they've created this whole face mask culture out of a need for it, and they've stylized it in such a way that it's attractive. It's part of it's part of your ensemble. And we actually had an article that scoped it a little bit in the most recent version in magazine, and things like that. This is really going to call for some idea generation,
Hmm.
how people's consumption patterns can be sustained, and how, as you said, how in some cases it can actually increase in terms of what you have to do. Because, I mean, during the times of quarantine, all you really have to do is sit down in front of the media, things and stuff. So, why
Yeah.
not try to think of what they could possibly want to buy?
Yeah, it's just being in the eyes of the consumer constantly, and being in touch with your returning customers to find out exactly what their needs are at this point in time. What can I do differently for you, you know? But Mike, going back to your magazine,
Yes.
how, as you have now moved your magazine into digital solely during this time, where are the opportunities for designers and business people in the industry to essentially showcase with you and partner with you? Because, as you said, you have tens of thousands of reach and it's growing. How do
Correct.
we get to partner with you to be part of that reach?
Okay, so our production process is always content and consumer driven. And what I mean by that simply is the responsibility of what we shoot, how we shoot, when we shoot, is really in the hands of our fashion editors, our coordinators, who really have their hands on the pulse of what's happening. So those persons, they may put out a call, they may go around, well, might physically go around at this time. They find out what is changing, what is new, what is trending, and then they more or less amalgamate what's out there, and they create stories out of it, and they produce it for our publication. So what happens is that either people who want to have stuff showcased, or the current people who in the act of producing stuff, they can contact us. Our all our profiles are open, our website is open, and they get in contact with one of our editors, and the process at this time is actually free. The the, the persons, the brands that are showcasing our magazine, they don't pay anything
Okay.
to get involved. They don't. There's no cost attached. Because as I know we've been speaking about it, our magazine is a free publication. Doesn't
Hmm.
mean that it's free to produce it. It's that it's free to, even when we were printing it, it's a free magazine. You go and pick it up. But the business model is such that the advertising is supposed to cover the production cost of same.
Hmm.
So the people continue to get in contact with us. We continue to keep our eyes and ears open as to what's happening. Our writers, have different stories. Everybody has a different twist on what's happening now and then what will happen next in the
Hmm.
world. And we just continue to try to be that platform that continue to give opportunity to anybody who might have something to showcase by just reaching out to us, or we reaching out to them, or vice versa.
Yes, so how frequently do you all have these calls in order to be showcased in your magazine? Now it's
And
online. I'm not too sure what the timings are.
twice a year.
Twice.
So we do this production twice a year. So as soon as one is finished, the
Mm-hmm.
work starts on the other one. And because our environment is a little different from North America, and that we have our 2 seasons. Not as our fashion is confined by 2 seasons, but our industry is such that the model we are rolling with is 2 seasons. So we do twice a year. One would have come out around March, April, then, and the other one would be more at the end of the August, July, August, get kind of September, October, that there, where people are usually preparing for Christmas slash Carnival.
Yeah.
So what they have in the pipeline is usually the material that we would try to use there, and the ones that we would have just finished would have been, like this season that's happening.
Oh, great. And when is your deadline for the open call for the August, September? When can people safely reach out to you to be selected to showcase in the
Yeah,
magazine?
right now I would think that we want up until at least it wouldn't be anywhere earlier than July. So I'm thinking July, even July up to August would
Mhm.
be spot because deadlines are important, yes, but we are also very sensitive to the environment. So if somebody would have normally done
Mhm.
something at a particular time, there must be some level of flexibility or some recognition of the fact that we're not operating in a normal situation right now. So we see how best we can, more or less be that conduit that serves multi-purpose between all stakeholders.
Yeah. So how can persons get in contact with you?
Well, there are a variety of ways. You can log on to the website. As I said, the website is www.ffmagazine.com, and that is
Mhm.
FFMAGAZE, right? ffmagazine.com. You
Mhm.
can send an email at Fashion Focus Ltd, as in short for limited, at
Mhm.
Gmail, Fashion Focus Limited at gmail.com, or they
Mhm.
can shoot us a message 471-1919. Either
Mhm.
of those channels, um, they'll be able to contact a member of our production team and get the material included in what will be our next production.
Okay, great. For everyone who's viewing right now, feel free to type your questions in the chat to ask any questions to Michael. So Mike, going again, like this is, I'm gonna start. So going from print now to
Right?
digital, has
Right.
that affected your subscription in terms of advertisers coming on board?
I think that initially, yes, because I don't think print to digital in essence, in concept was necessarily a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as I said, we had the opportunity with Caribbean Airlines and our advertisers were getting the benefit of print and some level of digital at that point in time. And now going from print to 100% digital until something changes, the audience is not necessarily affected directly. I think what may have caused some level of anxiety was the broader picture, not necessarily that the quality of the production or the reach was the same. I think the macroeconomic reality of the global market may have caused some trepidation for some advertisers, not questioning whether or not our brand would still deliver quality. Because as you know, Lisa, if a company, corporate, if a conglomerate has to look to curb spending, first place there's go is marketing. The first
Yeah,
place there's go is marketing, guys,
yeah.
to cut. I mean, traditionally, that's how our economies are. If you have a business that is earning X amount, and hey, we're not earning this again, we need to um, cut down on spend a little bit. Let me see which department we go into to see where we're gonna cut. First place we're gonna go is marketing and advertising. So it is really up to us to continue and in some ways even increase the value that we can offer to our customers, to our advertisers.
Mm. But you're able to, I guess, sustain your core advertisers on board with digital. You have some sort of funding coming through for that stream for you all to be up and going online, yeah?
Sorry, my connection may have wavered a little bit. I didn't get the question.
Yeah, I wanted to know. So, just going back to that question in terms of the advertisers for print, moving into digital, though, I know that you'd have mentioned a lot of companies would look at curbing marketing. So, that may have affected you guys in terms of going into digital during this time. But were you all
Yeah,
able to still sustain a core group of advertisers to continue to keep the site
yes,
going?
yes,
Yeah,
because what would have happened is some of our partners are not just partners with the magazine. We didn't actually get a chance to talk about the events, right? Because our partners are multi-platform. So they would have had commitments with us in terms of what we could deliver to them in terms of an audience with readership. But
right,
in terms of that sweat equity, that one-on-one marketing opportunity on the ground with the fashion events that we would host. Of
right.
course, that is sustained right now, but some people have still said, well, I know this may be temporary. I know this may be for a time. And then at the end of the day, Lisa, is that it is a two-way. All relationships are a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
So where an advertiser may have expressed trepidation, we could say, hey, you know what? If you all are undecided, don't even worry. Still, let's keep the relationship going and let's hold each other's hands through this time. So the people that have worked with us before are still by and large the people that are working with us now and would be the people that are working with us going down the road.
Okay, great. From one of our designers from Simply Escape, she said that she's on the website and she's
Right,
seeing FF store.
right.
Can you go into detail if that would be an online store?
So in our digital transformation model, our website was supposed to do three things. The website was supposed to be the central repository for the magazine. So anybody who couldn't get their hands on a physical copy of the magazine can go to the website and see the magazine. That's one. Two, it was also supposed to be a communication portal for our events. So whatever events we have coming up, something that has passed, you want to go back to see a picture, all these different things, that would have been the second function.
Mm-hmm.
The third function, which, as you just pointed out,
Mm-hmm.
something called, yes, the FF store is actually supposed to be a digital mall. All that was supposed to do is to connect the same brands that we showcase in the magazine with direct retail. So if a
Okay.
customer has seen, let's just say, and forgive me, let me just do a quick example. So this
Mm-hmm.
was second edition. So let's say a customer saw this picture.
Mm-hmm.
This is Lisa Sitai collection from a couple of years back, right? What we're introducing is you'll be able to now go with your mouse, and when you reach on this particular vest, you would see the little hand. You'll be able to click, and it
Mm-hmm.
would take you to the digital mall that would say Lisa Sitai available. This is the course. Order now.
Okay. Nice.
So that's actually phase three of the whole online experience. And the person who was kind of heading up the digital transformation couldn't be with us this afternoon, but that is a feature that is supposed to be active very soon. So what that then does, it creates a direct contact. It provides a direct opportunity for someone who's browsing the pages of the magazine and say, hey, where's this available? I want to get some more information. Hey, I want to get this piece. Then here it is, online transaction and all. Um, Credit card enabled. We pay however. So that's something that we have in development that should be launched very soon as well.
Okay, great. So I guess once we continue to follow your Instagram channel, we should
Yes,
see
of
that
course.
launch soon at some point
Yeah,
because that is indeed very exciting. And I think
yeah,
it's a great feature in particular for those who want to get into your magazine for
yeah.
the September issue in preparation for Christmas. Because
Sure.
we're hoping that store should be open by then.
Correct. Yeah. And at least the production of certain things should be back to a level where it is reasonable in terms of what people are producing, in terms of what people are buying.
Yeah. So Mike, in wrapping up, we have a final question for you. Do you have any advice for designers who may not be sure as to how to transform their business to weather COVID-19? So in your case, you quickly moved to transform your business from print
Right.
to digital. That was just the obvious and realistic way to do, and you kept it in keeping with your relationships with your clients. For designers, for instance, what advice do you have for them in terms of pivoting their business during this point in time?
Okay, so I'll make a quick point, a little bit of a theory that I have personally about what's happening, and then something that could serve as advice. There is something that I call a degree of transformability, right? And that is simply the fact that in these times, this is something that's largely unprecedented, because the last time we had something of this scale was more than 100 years ago. So anybody who had experienced a pandemic on this level is not around now to advise us as to what we should do. There's a degree of transformability, simply meaning that some businesses would be able to transform much faster and much more effectively than others, right? Everyone might say you need to get digital, or you need to get on the internet, because that is the way. But really and truly, it begins with your idea. What the advice that I'd simply say is you have to think about what is your unique selling proposition to your audience. What is your USP? And when you think about that, that should guide your creative process as to work out what they might need or what to continue to supply them with. I just use the example of Ryan Chan again. Ryan Chan has continued to provide his customers with a distinct aesthetic, right? So he's versatile, he's unusual, and he provided them that through their clothing. But he's found other ways to still give his aesthetic and his persona to them through his animation, through his books, through the home stuff, right? So I think that people really need to think about what is their brand, their brand position. What is your brand personality, and what you do best, how you're doing it best now, and think about how you can do it best then, right? It is straight a matter of what you can do differently while still maintaining the value that you provide to your customer base.
Yeah, exactly. How you are essentially serving and helping the pain points of your customer at this point in time. So, Mike, that's it for us essentially and this session. Thank you so very much for your time. It is indeed excellent as always interacting with you. And I just want to know, is it okay for our people, our designers, to message you from All Now in preparations to get into your digital magazine at this point in time in preparations for August, September?
That's fine. That's of course.
And I'm thinking, in chatting with these fashion companies, you can potentially prepare them in terms of telling them what images you need, what type of data you need, what type of information on the company you need, and all those things. So you provide guidance.
Yeah, once they reach out, they're given a template. They are given guidelines as to what they need to provide for the production. So it's very, very clear, and it's very, very specific. So once they reach out and they're interested, that is just the beginning of the process, and things usually run smoothly from there.
Yeah, so guys, please reach out to Michael at Fashion Focus for this opportunity. I would have typed up the email address to get onto his team on the chat room, and there's also the website that we spoke about and we had put on the chat room as well. Fashion Focus is an excellent, modern, clean publication, one of the nicest, if not the nicest magazine in Trinidad and Tobago, Mike. So kudos to you. and to your team.
Thank you.
And,
Thank
we hope to start back working together soon.
you. Sure. Well,
Thank you, and thank you everybody for viewing. Tomorrow
all right.
tomorrow we have Becoming Branded with Brian Matthew, and on Friday we have TTBS Quality Time and Sustainability with Nawanya and Kabir Mutu. So Mike, take a look at these other sessions we have. We have some exciting things in store. Cool. Okay, take care. Bye. Bye, Crystal. Not seeing you, but I know you're there. Bye.
All right.